Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're digging into a seriously fascinating analysis of how to face unwinnable battles. We'll be drawing some incredible connections across three completely different domains: animal psychology, military history, and ancient biblical texts. It's a really unique look at the strategy of survival and exactly how we handle situations where the odds are massively against us.
So let's kick things off with a pretty wild question. Think about a tiger or a lion out on the hunt. When is the exact absolute perfect split second for that massive predator to finally pounce? Think about it for a second.
The answer? It's simple, but man, is it terrifying. They strike the very second their target turns its back to run. The source material points out that predators literally just wait for this exact moment, right? Because it is the absolute most vulnerable posture a prey can take. The moment you turn around, you basically invite the attack.
And here's the thing, this biological rule, it applies perfectly to human conflict too. Fleeing in a blind panic just guarantees maximum damage. But retreating while keeping your eyes locked on the threat, that's a whole different ballgame. The text even mentions that ancient Spartan mothers would allegedly punish their sons if they came home from war with scars on their backs. Why? Because a scar on the back meant you broke formation and ran.
Let's fast forward to modern warfare and see how this plays out. Take a look at these two historical events. During the Korean War, you had the miraculous Hungnam evacuation, also known as the 1-4 retreat, which managed to save roughly 100,000 lives. How did they pull that off? Because it was highly organized. They kept their formations, and they never panicked and turned their backs to the enemy. The source also points to the U.S. withdrawal from Vietnam, which was an operation specifically designed to pull forces out while keeping this fierce outward front just to avoid showing any vulnerability.
All this history actually gave birth to the secular military concept we know today as an exit strategy. It's a calculated plan to minimize damage when you're stuck in an unwinnable war. Basically, when victory is completely off the table, an exit strategy is figuring out how to, lose well without getting totally decimated. You accept the loss, sure, but you protect your assets by getting out safely.
Section 1. Jehoshaphat Facing the Crisis, the Unwinnable War.
So, as the ancient texts describe, King Jehoshaphat suddenly finds himself staring down an absolutely overwhelming, totally unwinnable war. We're talking about a massive allied force, a great multitude made up of armies from Moab, Ammon, and Edom, marching directly at his kingdom. Militarily speaking, he was completely outmatched. No way around it.
Naturally, the guy was terrified. But what the source text really zeroes in on here is that fear is a completely normal, honest reaction. Even for people with deep, profound faith, feeling absolute terror when facing overwhelming life challenges isn't a sign of weakness. It's just human. The real issue isn't whether you feel the fear, it's what you do the moment after.
Section 2. God's 4-step exit strategy, a counterintuitive framework for facing fear. Now, instead of just using a standard worldly retreat to run away and cut his losses, Jehoshaphat seeks divine guidance, and what he gets is a radically different 4-step strategy. And honestly, these commands completely flip our basic human survival instincts upside down. Let's break down each one to see exactly how this works. Step 1. Do not fear. Now I know that sounds like empty encouragement, right? But the text explains this command is given because within this theological framework, the ultimate outcome of the battle actually belongs to God, not to the person feeling overwhelmed. You don't have to fear the battle because, it's not actually yours to win in the first place.
And this brilliantly connects right back to today's world. The source ties this ancient anxiety directly to what terrifies us right now. I mean, we are constantly bombarded with heavy news, right? The ongoing conflict in Ukraine, escalating tensions in the Middle East between Israel and Iran, global instability, not to mention our own personal financial or health crises. It is so incredibly easy to panic. But the very first step of this strategy is acknowledging that honest fear, bringing it into the light, and just refusing to let it paralyze you.
Okay, so once you manage that fear, the second step is incredibly counterintuitive. The command is to go down against them. Think about how crazy that sounds. You are looking at a massive, unwinnable army, and the divine instruction is basically to intentionally march right into the buzzsaw.
But remember that tiger analogy from earlier? Just like the prey facing the predator, the absolute second you turn your back on your massive problems and run, they're going to consume you. You literally cannot turn your back. You have to physically and mentally advance straight toward the problem.
So you've advanced toward the threat. Now what?
Well, the third crucial command is to take your positions and stand firm. You just maintain your formation. You aren't attacking, but you sure aren't retreating either. You are just holding your ground.
Just like that Hungnam evacuation we talked about, which only succeeded because 100,000 people maintained strict order, you cannot break ranks. When life gets unbearably hard and every single instinct in your body is screaming at you to scatter and hide, this strategy demands that you keep your spiritual and mental formation. Do not abandon your post.
And finally, we hit step 4, which is the ultimate payoff for executing the first 3. The command is simply to see the salvation. You hold your ground specifically so you can be in the right position to witness the victory that's being secured on your behalf.
The crucial point the source is making here is this. Victory is only visible to the people who actually stay on the battlefield. Think about it. If you break ranks and run away early just to find some temporary, worldly safety, you'll never actually be present to see the incredible resolution that was prepared for you. You miss the whole victory simply because you left the field.
Section 3. Unwavering faith, applying the ultimate exit strategy to your life.
So, this really highlights a huge conflict between two totally different ways of thinking. Secular wisdom tells you to find a safe exit strategy. Run away, cut your losses, minimize the damage. But the spiritual framework, it demands the exact opposite. It tells you to face the danger head on. Do not turn your back. Face the world and hold the line.
The source material actually connects this strategy directly to the Christian narrative of Jesus on the cross, presenting it as the ultimate historical example of this concept. According to the text, facing the ultimate enemy of death, Jesus refused to retreat. He didn't call down armies to escape the situation. Instead, he held the line against all that suffering to secure a final miraculous victory. He absolutely refused to turn his back on the crisis.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this one final provocative thought. When the tigers of life are getting ready to pounce, and you're staring down odds that seem completely unwinnable, what's your move? Are you going to turn your back and run, basically guaranteeing the attack? Or are you going to hold the line, keep your formation, and stand firm to see the victory? Thanks so much for learning with me today.